Yeah, it was the race. God, it was so crazy. It's just such a different race when you're running up front than you're running in the back. Once I got spun back there, it's awful. I mean, it's the worst racing. It's not even racing really. You're just kind of bumping the car in front of you, and then it just takes one person that's two rows back to just get pissed at somebody in front of them, and they just drive in and blatantly take out that person. But that person doesn't spin. It's the car in front that spins, which is why, like, I'm looking around, and after the race, I don't know who to be mad at. And if you look at all the drivers, all the wrecks that we've had, all the people that got taken out, nobody was fighting. You want to know why? Because we got out of the car and we're like, well, I don't know who's responsible. Like, you don't even know who's responsible. And then you're probably thinking, well, who's coming at me? Because surely I caused one of these wrecks as well. So we're running the fine line of entertainment and racing at the Clash now. So you see kind of floating around, is this thing going to go to a regular season points race? I agree with Logano that there's no way you could put 36 cars on that track. I think that's impossible. You would have to have the same format. I think you would have better racing at that track if keep it the Clash and stop inviting everyone to the party. Like, if you win a pole like you used to, you get to participate in the Clash. If you don't, you don't show up. Like, I guarantee you, who had the worst weekend was RFK. Like, they showed up again, didn't make the race again. I don't know what they made, maybe a couple bucks, and they spent a lot of time and effort going out there.
So you're saying if you come out, you're racing. All the charters are in the race.
Yeah, but I mean, the field, it used to be in the Clash 15, 18 cars. I think that it's so log jammed up from mid-pack back because the field, the according happens way in the front. And then it just gets, by the time it gets to the back, it's just awful. So I think the fewer the cars, I mean, we saw it in the heat races, the last chance qualifier. We didn't have all this crazy car. We had 10 cars in each. So if you can spread us out, it might not provide the boxing type of entertainment. But I don't know. I'm wondering, like, is the juice still worth the squeeze on this thing? Like, has it run its course? I tell you this though, the vibe from what I heard was amazing. I mean, as pissed off as I was during the halfway break, like I can hear Wiz Khalifa. I'm like, right on, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And you hear the crowd kind of, getting into it, and you can tell, like, this is a new crowd. I think 40% are new fans. So I think it's really accomplishing a lot of the goals that NASCAR is wanting it to do. And I got to thinking about this too, is it worth their investment? Because obviously they're spending money building the track. They're spending money activating. They're spending money on concerts and all that stuff. And I'm like, how do they get the return on that? And I got to thinking, well, if you had the Clash at 1 million viewers for Fox's portion, and you immediately took one event and you jacked it up to 3 million or 3.5, the end number that you're promoting to Fox and any other potential bidders on our rights, that number is higher. And how many points, how many millions is it per point? Like, it's surely there's some sort of equation that these networks are going to start to see value in. And when you can jump one up 2 million, it's, you're going to get a bump. There's no question. I think the Chicago road course, we're not there for the race. It's not about the race. It's going to be about the experience, which I am all for. I've been pro, let's make these venues better. Let's make the experience better for years now. And NASCAR is really starting to do that, which is good. So hopefully, I mean, I honestly, I think we're heading in a good direction. Just, we got to really be careful with the fine line of getting to Demolition Derby. Yeah. Like I don't know if that's really what we want to say. This is NASCAR racing. Like,
is that a product of, because I was watching it yesterday as a fan, at least part of the race as a fan, And I thought the on-track product was better than it was last year. Because last year you were single file for a lot of the race. And it wasn't that exciting. There wasn't much passing. And yesterday there was obviously a lot more action, a lot more passing. And as you said, a little demolition derby-ish. But like, is that a product of the track? Because you don't see that at Martinsville, right? And that, I mean, as the average fan, that's what I'm comparing this track to in my mind, right? It's a short track. It's small, tight corners.
It's like half the size though, right? It's
Yeah.
so much smaller. I mean, I'm going to say something that I'm just, Twitter is just going to absolutely kill. Like, dare we put PJ1 in the second group? I mean, like, something, because we're plowing into each other because no one wants to be on the top.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what the right answer is. And I'd love to know what like NASCAR's feeling is about it. I mean, surely they didn't like us running around at 30 miles an hour under caution for all that time. I mean, it had to be over an hour in, and he was like, all right, we're halfway through the second stage. And I'm like, oh, wow. I don't even know, are they counting laps or not?
I don't think laps were counted under caution. That was my only thought is watching. Because first of all, in the student section, they love the crashes. Like, one guy wrecked another guy.
Okay.
This guy wrecked this guy. Middle fingers going at this guy when they come around. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, the
That's
student
what we
section
want.
was very lively. My only thought was, can you add, I don't know, can you do 250 laps but then count caution laps? Like, do the math there on how to trim it down so it's in that time window that you wanted it to be in.
Yeah, I mean, there's a balance there to be had for sure. I mean, at the end of the race, I was kind of, I got taken out, like, again, by Byron, and I was pissed. Like, I was spun around sideways on the track, and I'm giving him the finger, and, he's not really doing anything or retaliating. So I get out of the car, and I turn around, and I mean mug him, and then I walked over to him like, dude, what the I didn't touch you. Like, what do you blew the corner. And he's like, no, bro, like, Harvick was pissed at me, and he power drove me after the race, and I just ran into you. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm sorry. That's my fault. That's my fault.